The evolution of Barbatos. Barbatos is the main Gundam featured in Iron-Blooded Orphans and undergoes many changes and forms throughout the series. The first form of Barbatos looks like this. It's missing shoulder pads as well as many other parts. This is due to the fact that it was found and recovered from the Mars Desert by Maruba. It was recovered from the Mars Desert by Maruba and was initially used as a generator for the CGS because of its rare Ahab reactor, a powerful energy reactor that was installed into the Gundam frames during the Calamity War that took place 300 years ago, and didn't have a cockpit, making piloting the MS impossible. Eventually, the CGS mobile worker cockpit would be transplanted into Barbatos, and Mikazuki August would pilot the Barbatos in defense of Kudelia and his friends. At this point in time, Barbatos' main weapon was a huge mace with a pile-driving function, capable of crushing and stabbing other units. Because of Mikazuki's multiple Leia Vignana surgeries, he was extremely proficient in piloting the Barbatos. In his first time, he took out multiple Greys and even beat Commander Crank in a 1v1 battle. The Barbatos is named after the 8th demon from the Ars Godia. Barbatos is derived from the Latin word barbatus, which means bearded. Barbatos has a red protruding chin that is similar to a beard. Barbatos' second form is now fitted with shoulder pads recovered from a captured IBO 6 Greys, painted white and red to match the iconic Gundam color scheme. The third form seems little to no change other than the wire claw attachment. Barbatos' fourth form looks very close to its original thanks to the engineers at Tewas and the information about the Calamity War stored in their database, fixing Barbatos' weight balance and improving the two Ahab reactors' performance. Barbatos' shoulder pads are also switched out for these bigger white ones. A longsword katana has been added to Barbatos' arsenal, but because Mikazuki wasn't proficient with the weapon yet, he had to resort to stabs between armor as opposed to slashing, like when he fought the Gundam Gusion, but he would eventually be able to cut both armor and frame. Barbatos' fifth form has two types, a flight and a ground version. The flight version has a huge gray chestplate of reactive armor to counter the Gundam Kamaris' hit and run tactics. Boosters were added on its waist for better mobility in space, and Barbatos has new blue forearm armor with mortars attached to the wrists. The ground version loses the waist boosters and chestplate, and the motors are switched out for autocannons, and the Gundam's feet were switched out for ones more conducive to Earth's gravity. Barbatos' sixth form is the last one seen in Season 1. Barbatos sees yet another shoulder pad upgrade. The shoulder pads are even bulkier than the last and came from an EBO 6R Greys. They can be aborted as a distraction or decoy. More armor plating was added to the chest for better protection. Tail boosters were added to the side skirt. This form sacrifices mobility for more durability, with the most armor of any of the forms, which is very useful as most of the thick armor was lost during the battle with prototype Grey's Ein. The Grey's Ein was a powerful prototype, oversized mobile suit, and Mikazuki was able to defeat after he learned how to use the longsword katana, and impressively was able to cut both frame and armor, severing both arms and stabbing the Grey's Ein in the chest to finish it off. This was an insane feat. After Mikazuki and the Barbatos' battle with Ein, it became extremely damaged and needed a complete overhaul, and was sent to the Saisei workshop, where it was given a new name, Barbatos Lupus, by the head mechanic because of how drastic the change was. Almost everything on this unit was changed. They reconfigured the Barbatos for close quarters combat to better fit its pilot's fighting style. It was now faster and more responsive. New longer arms with sharp long fingers were added to give it a more animalistic appearance. The new more aggressive looking V-fin and new smaller shoulder pads were added for better mobility. Barbatos Lupus is equipped with new melee weapons, a sword mace, a heavy thick sword for bashing opposed to slicing. It was given a pair of small twin maces, as well as a new longsword used for slicing enemy mobile suits to pieces. Handheld firearms were kept to a minimum to better fit Mikazuki's fighting style, so the only gun that Barbatos Lupus wields is a railgun. However, it does have a 200mm gun built into its right arm and a rocket launcher built into the left arm. When Barbatos Lupus was taking on the Hajj alone, it was actually an insane feat. Once Mikazuki adapted, he was able to maneuver around and dodge the laser beams, and even begin to predict attacks and outspeed the Hajmel, all while ripping off pieces of the unit and getting hits in. It was even able to predict and outspeed the tail. Julia, who was a bystander at this fight, was even stated as saying that she couldn't keep up and even see his movements because Barbatos was moving so fast. But luckily, Barbatos was able to ram through using the Valkyria sword, ending the fight in extreme damaged state, but taking out the mobile armor, and was able to take out the mobile armor, one of the things for the near extinction of the human race. Barbatos Lupus briefly used the Valkyria Buster Sword, a massive sword taller than the Barbatos Lupus that Mikazuki borrowed from the Helmwig Ring car. But that fight showed just how resilient and powerful Barbatos is, as it seemed to get stronger the more damaged it became. Barbatos Lupus Rex, or the Bearded Wolf King, is the final form of Barbatos. After Barbatos was extremely damaged in the battle with the Hashmel mobile armor, the Barbatos was sent to the Saisei workshop, where they used new data gathered while fighting the Hashmel, as well as Mikazuki's constant Alea Vinyanis use, to overhaul the Barbatos' system to its theoretical peak, making it as strong and as fast as it could possibly get. Mikazuki at this point is suffering from overexertion and constant Alea Vinyana use, to the point that he can't even walk and feels better being connected to Barbatos. This form sees another more aggressive V-fin redesign resembling that of a crown. It now looks even more ferocious and animalistic, with massive reinforced arms that almost touch the ground, with huge claws lining the end of each arm. The tail blade from the mobile armor was also transplanted onto the Barbatos, which Mikazuki can control with the Alea Vinyana system as both a sword and a whip, and acts like another limb. Barbatos Lupus Rex's weapons also got upgraded. Ultra large mace. Like the previous versions, this is an even bigger, with larger spikes and a pile driver at the tip and handle. It can also be used as a lance and thrown at battleship. Like when Mikazuki launched the Barbatos directly in front of the cabin of a ship and smacked it at point blank range, which seems like a really effective way of killing enemy ships. I don't know why they didn't just keep doing that. It seemed like a very good idea. Rex nails. Barbatos' hands themselves are now weapons, each finger having a large sharp nail. Each of the nails are made from rare metal. 200mm guns are built into Barbatos' wrists, and a heel bunker is placed in each heel, which contains a pile bunker. This form is the most powerful form of Barbatos and is the most in tune with Mikazuki, and is absolutely lethal in close quarters combat, taking on multiple units at once with ease. Barbatos Lupus Rex was easily able to defeat the prototype Relenglaze Julia, another oversized Gallarhorn prototype unit based on the Graze type Ein, but was designed to have supremacy and zero gravity. But no matter how hard the unit fought, it couldn't do anything to Barbatos Lupus Rex and was defeated. Vidar was also no match for Lupus Rex, although they did fight on pretty equal terms once the Alea Vinyana type Ein was activated, but the fight would be interrupted by McGillis and his Bael. The Barbatos and Mikazuki had this very interesting relationship where Mikazuki could seemingly gain more power by asking for more power, and almost in a devil contract way would almost give up his humanity and parts of himself to be able to pilot the Barbatos at a higher level. Like, it seemed like by the end of the series, him and Barbatos had become the top of the iceberg. There was no higher point, but also at that point, Mikazuki wasn't able to walk, he wasn't able to function, and had lost vision in one of his eyes, and it seemed like his body was just completely failing. But as a pilot, he was at his peak. There was really no other suit besides maybe Bael that could actually do anything to Barbatos at this point in the story. It was so strong that it needed to be jumped and hit with an orbital strike of illegal Daneslave missiles and an army of Greys and the prototype Relenglaze Julia. Barbatos and Mikazuki truly were different among other pilots, and is personally my favorite Gundam in the Iron-Blooded Orphans series. And that has been Barbatos Lupus Rex, Barbatos Lupus, and Barbatos, and the other 6 forms that change very slightly. I hope you guys like this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and look out for my next video because I will be covering more Gundams.